Hi, Dr. Garima here again, and today we are discussing another of scenario-based questions of Australian Dental Council exam. I'm discussing of Mock 3. I jumped from Mock 1 to Mock 3 because yesterday one of my candidates was having some doubts about this question. So I thought might as well make a video and share it. So let's just start discussing it. For new candidates, this is how your ADC exam paper looks like each question. You'll have one scenario based questions and five sub questions, and this is how your exam's gonna be. So let's see. This is a photograph of a clinical presentation of a 55-year-old farmer presenting with a firm lesion. Now they have mentioned the word farmer. Why is that farmer a very important word? It means he's out in the fields, he's out in the sun, and you have to remember that Australian sun is very harsh. On the left side of his upper lip, covered with crust. He states that it's been slowly growing over several years, yet it's not painful. All right. So he's come to you because probably this lesion is a little more bigger than what it used to be, which may have started bothering him like aesthetically, but it's not painful. Whenever you see a history of a lot of exposure in the sun because of the occupation or otherwise, and some everted crustated lesions around the lip, immediately your brain should tell you it has to be something which is not good. It can be a benign or malignant form of some of the cancerous lesions, and only on biopsy you will come to know about it. You, as a dentist, will take the history, give out a bit of differential diagnosis, and then will immediately refer this patient to an oral surgeon who will be doing a biopsy, and then the treatment would be decided. So you have to be very gentle to the patient and tell him the urgency of the situation without making him scared, and tell him probably it's nothing, but probably it can be something. So might as well let's take a preventive measure, and let's not wait until this actually starts giving you some symptoms or you start having some symptoms in the rest of your body. Let's get a biopsy done to understand what it is likely. Understand? So, yeah, what is this lesion? Now, here the first question is according to the history and clinical presentation, this is a classic appearance of, and the options given here are basal cell carcinoma squamous, recurrent herpes labialis, and erythema multiforme. Option C and D are very painful, and they don't last like several years. They'll come, they'll have an episode, and they'll go away. So definitely C and D are not the options. Now option A and B. So I was just thinking, it can be either. So I've started Googling up photos. They all look the same. So you see, I Googled for basal cell carcinoma, and then I Googled for squamous cell carcinoma. Pretty much the same in the start. You just don't know unless you do a biopsy. So both the options out here are correct. So don't question yourself. This can be one of those unmarked questions. Because just by looking at it, you just cannot say it is basal or squamous, especially because both of them has profanity for the upper lip areas. So both are correct answers out here, unless some more detail is given. Now, the main etiologic factor for the lip cancer is, again, the keyword is main. If I remove that, my question would be the etiologic factor for lip cancer is. But when I introduce main, it means all the options that would be given are correct. And you have to pick up that option, which is the major factor. So prolonged exposure to UV radiations, yes. Heavy smoking can also result, chemical irritation over a long period of time can also result, and chronic alcoholism can also result. Smoking and alcohol will increase like fivefold, and it's given in Odell or something, yeah, that both of them combined together increases the probability of having a cancer by 5 or 20 fold. Just go ahead and read that. But the major etiologic factor for an upper lip cancer is prolonged exposure to UV radiation, and Australian sun, the way it's placed geographically, they have more ultraviolet radiation, and the sun is actually very bright. I think in one of my videos I did say when I went to Australia for my exam, I just could not look at the sun, it was so bright. And then I googled up, is it me, or actually you cannot look at the sun? Because here in Dubai, at least the morning sun and the evening sun, you're able to look very nicely without burning. And it's a very pleasant sight actually, even in India. The morning and the evening sun, they're beautiful to watch at, but Australia, I just could not. Squamous cell carcinoma of the mouth, intraorally. They have mentioned this in bracket, most commonly involves. So again, a lot of filter out things. That means, first of all of the things that would be given are correct. The first filter is intraorally. That is whatever is inside the lips, not the lips. Lips will not be counted as intraorally. Most commonly involved. So out of the options given inside the mouth, out of them also you have to choose the one which is most commonly involved. So gingiva, lip, tongue, palate. Lip I'm going to overrule. So gingiva, tongue and palate. All three can be affected. But the most commonly one is tongue, especially the lateral border of the tongue, the floor of the mouth, and at the last is the dorsum of the tongue. Remember the sequence. Which of the following is the least likely primary site for the development of squamous cell carcinoma in the elderly? Okay, again, a very good question. First, least likely means the last area where it would occur first. You understand? So, there are many areas in the body which you otherwise would not think would be having squamous cell carcinoma, but it can metastasize to it, like forming a secondary site, but it won't be the primary site in those areas. So what is the question asking? Which can be the least likely primary site? The primary site can be upper lip, lower lip, lateral border of the tongue, but the least likely site for primary occurrence of the squamous cell carcinoma is the dorsum of the tongue. The rest of the areas, it can occur as a primary site, but the least likely doesn't mean it won't occur. It can, but it's very rare. And this is all mentioned in your oral pathology books. You have to go there and you have to read the sequence. Yeah, it's a little too much to understand which is the major site, least site, but you don't have to remember this for all sorts of cysts, tumors, lesions, etc. Only specific ones which you are more likely to encounter in Australia, and squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma are one of those. So at least for these lesions, you should know history, geography, ABC, XYZ about this. You cannot make a mistake then, you know. Which of the following sites for squamous cell carcinoma has the best prognosis? Again, best prognosis, meaning all the options are again correct. It's questions like these which take up most of the time in your exam because you're like, oh my god, everything is correct, I have to choose the best. Understand? And these are the questions which will test you. So, which of the following sites for squamous cell carcinoma has the best prognosis? Lower lip, retromolar area, gingiva, buccal mucosa, hard palate. The answer is lower lip. Retromolar, gingiva, buccal mucosa, and hard palate apparently have a lot of, connections with the blood supply, and whenever it happens in that area, it is not easily detected because it's painless, so the patient may not bother. But on the lip, what happens, you can actually see. So even if it's not bothering you, you will be concerned aesthetic wise. So usually the patient ends up going to the doctor a bit early. Not only that, it's way easier to excise the lesions over the lip than in the rest of the locations because the skin acts as a barrier, but the other locations are just full of connective tissue, and so the cancerous cells can spread very fast. So the best prognosis is the lower lip. So I hope this is clear, and read please more about it. See many pictures, it's scary, and if you smoke and you have alcohol, you remember it's twofold and 5 to 10, 20 folds. Don't consume that so often. So anyways, I can just suggest, the rest is your wish. So I hope this is clear, and yeah, you will definitely get one question about such lesion in your exam. So have a nice day. Bye bye.